Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. Let's get Instagram up and running. Come on, behind the scenes internet thing. Do what you got. All right, let's hit go live on Instagram. Yesterday, I sat in a room full of strangers while they silently judged me for 3 minutes. And honestly, it might be useful. Good morning. This is the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. It is Wednesday, June 3rd. Good morning over here on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. This is the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. Real life stories and strategies, and let me know what you're working on in your acting career, and let's talk about it. What if the biggest thing holding your materials back is that you're not seeing yourself accurately? It's sort of a foundational part of our acting careers is getting our materials in line with who we are. So yesterday, I participated in an event, a workshop organized by the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, and it was their branding workshop. And a lot of what the workshop did was have each of the participants, I think there were 15 of us, sit in front of the others, or one person chose to stand silently. And from that, we had to fill out forms. Some people did them on, most of us did them on sort of a Google form, but some people preferred physical hard copy. So on this form, I mean, you're just sitting there. There's no acting, there's no whatever. You're just sitting there. So there's a visual aspect of it. I would describe their basic look as, and then there are about, what's that, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, there are 20 descriptors. Like casual, character, cute, edgy, funky, quirky, sophisticated, upscale, wholesome. Okay, that's the visual. Then the second section was the essence. I get a feeling of, and then there are about 70 descriptors: arrogant, honest, decent, materialistic, mischievous, quiet, shy. Do you know what I mean? So there's a sort of the essence that you get from sitting there and watching that person. The next section was trying to deal with type. They could portray the typical, and then there were another like 70 descriptors: grandparent. I'm trying not to focus on the ones that are circled for me because this person was a little crazy, I think. But like blue collar, alcoholic, grandparent, husband, wife, ex-husband, wife, lovable loser. It's a cute one. Roommate, surfer, beach type, villain, or victim. So and then the last section was professional. I would hire them as and then there are about 90 professions, different professions. Hi, friends. Hi, Reno Esterma 8729. Welcome to the daily. This is the morning report from the Working Actor NYC. Hey, Linda Cuccio, go Cubs go, 19932, get it. This is the morning report from the Working Actor NYC, and I'm going through a branding workshop that I took yesterday. The last section was professional, so there are about 90 professions here, and people selected how they could see me. And this is all just from me sitting there. There's no talking involved. There's no acting. There's no performance. Just what do you see? Which by itself is fascinating. Doctor, drug dealer, CEO, psychic, plumber, truck driver, surgeon, security guard, you get the idea, like 90 different professions that, over 70 personality descriptors, over 88 professions, different relationships, and people just started checking boxes. Now, what do you think those people picked for me? I was wearing a, a suit jacket, so what do you call that? A sports coat? Is that what you call it in America? I don't know. It was a casual version of a jacket. So, what do you think? Tell me in the comments what you think people picked for me. Um, uh, Good morning, Frank, Eve, Asher, Maciel. Thanks for joining me. This is the Working Actor NYC, and we're discussing the branding workshop that I took yesterday. There were over 88 descriptors of a profession, and I would love to know what profession you think these folks who are just looking at me picked for me. Um, the important caveat was all this was as I was filling in this form for other people, I was noticing myself that these were completely snap judgments. There wasn't time to sort of sit and think about it. And it is honestly going to be problematic because if an Indian guy gets up there, do you just automatically say, oh, well, he's a taxi driver? Do you tick that box? I did not. I was like, oh, come on, let's get really engaged with this. He had a more earthy vibe. He had a sort of an earthy vibe to him. So I sort of saw him more as sort of like, the cult leader, the artist, the photographer, sort of something more artistic and edgy than the South Asian person that we might stereotypically encounter in our lives. And so I wanted to steer away from stereotypes and into what I could actually see the person doing. So I took it with a grain of salt. You're not acting, you're not speaking, you're just sitting there silently. So the value of this type of exercise is not whether or not any of these people got it right. All right. The interesting thing is going to be to see where the patterns are. What sort of patterns do they identify just from looking at me? If 20 people, if the 15 people that were there chose the same descriptor, what if everybody chose the same descriptor for me? What if they all chose the same profession for me? What if they all described the same energy for me? That's worth investigating. That's useful information. And sort of it's one of the things that I get really invested with my coaching clients is helping them to identify, good morning, hi, is helping my clients identify how they see themselves, what sort of work they see themselves doing, so that we can focus their materials towards that. Because your type is one part of this. Absolutely, your type. Whether you could play the typical grandparent or the typical boss or the typical slacker or the typical rule breaker or the goofy friend. Those sorts of types are a starting point. Your brand encompasses more of your essence and the feeling that you give off, the vibe that you give off. What are the visual cues about your wardrobe? What are they telling us? So it's sort of type plus. Your brand is type plus, and getting your materials to reflect that can be a really important part of your journey. And into steering your agent towards submitting you for the roles that you're going to book, helping casting to identify where you're going to book and where you're most comfortable acting. If your type suggests burly security guard, but you have such a soft side to you. If you're so vulnerable in that sort of burly security guard look, then you're probably leaning to more towards lovable loser, or couch potato in a more dramatic sense. Does that make sense? I do not speak Russian. I'm so sorry. Um, where we got? Oh gosh, this is fascinating. Why are the comments from YouTube always like crazy? Like I worry about the people on YouTube. I really do. We say the most random things. It's like they're all just looking for attention. But the other thing about this exercise is that what I've noticed in my coaching clients in particular is that as we're trying to articulate the types that we play, the parts of our careers where we feel comfortable, where we feel most comfortable, where we excel, where we shine, where our what our forte is, our acting lane where we're undeniable. Those That's important information. And often my coaching clients struggle with putting those things into words, with articulating them. So the thing that I really liked about this exercise is that it gives you a whole lot of language to start using in trying to identify those things for yourself. Um, you know, they might be able to say, oh, this kind of a role feels right, but they can't articulate why. So the important thing to take away from an exercise like this is that your brand isn't who you think you are. It's the story people tell themselves when they look at you. So once you can get your brand identified, you can start pointing your materials towards that. And that way, your agents and managers and reps can start pitching you for those kinds of roles, and casting will start to see how well that fits you. That's the important point about how your career, all what you're saying is really important and good, but do you know real cowboys? I do not know real cowboys. Do it? Well, in Australia, we call them jackaroos and jillaroos. Um, and my best friend was a Jillaroo for a couple of years in her early 20s. So yeah, I guess maybe I do. Not sure why that was important, but I'm here for you. The goal of this branding workshop isn't to let strangers define you. The goal is to understand what they're already seeing. That's useful information for you. If the market sees you as something consistently, that's information worth understanding. That's where it becomes useful. That's where you can start working on your wheelhouse, your headshots, your submission reports, your visibility, all of that stuff that we've been talking about. That's what gets you everything moving in the same direction. To be interested to know if a room full of strangers had to describe you in 3 words, what do you think they would choose? Let me know. If a room full of strangers had to describe you in 3 words, what are the words they would choose? Let me know. Today, today is the first day of the Tribeca Festival. I am the lead in a short film called Daddy's Little Meatball, which is screening 4 times during the festival. So today the festival starts, and there's a kickoff reception tonight that I'm going to go to. I know that the director of my film, Yael Grunzeit, is going to be there, so that'll be cool to catch up with her and meet some folks and learn what I can learn. And as always, whatever I learn, I will be right back here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. to tell you all about it, because that's how we do. Let me know what you're working on in your acting career. Let's talk about it. I'll be right back here at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Remember, wherever you are in your acting career, you got this. Keep going. All right, friends. I will be back here at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Come back and join me, and I'll let you know how the first day of Tribeca Festival went.